G'day, my name's Mark. I'm the Director of CP Constructions. We're a residential multi-res building specialist. We've been going since about 2019. We build houses and we do civil and land development as well. So the company was started, mentioned about 5 years ago. It was a joint venture between a bank seeking to recover funds on a development and ourselves. And we ended up getting along really well. So we were working for them and we ended up getting along really well as two human beings. And I said to the other partner in the business, why don't we keep going? And we did. When we first started, we had nothing, zero, a tool belt, and now we have more toys, so that's what we do. I've been in construction for as long as I can remember in development. I have a trade background. My dad was a builder, family doing it, and I figured that the only way growing up that I could make some money was owning a house, and that's why I sort of got stuck into it and got involved in steel frames and fabrication and manufacturing in that industry nearly 20 years ago. And I just like building houses. That's what I like doing. I like to be able to walk away at the end of the day and see that we've made something, we've done something. Like every dad, drive around and say, oh, I helped build that one, and I helped build that one, and I helped build that one. And that's how we sort of got involved in it and stayed in it, and now I do this. So the biggest difference between us and probably most other residential builders is we don't work for the public, we don't work for anybody else, we'll only build our own developments. The hardest part about getting to where we've got to, and it's just not easy. People don't understand the people, the capital investment you have to make. Every business owner out there is going to tell you the same thing. People don't understand how hard it is to make these things work. You've got to keep people employed, you've still got to be profitable. We've had COVID, we've had the ups, we've had the downs. And the reason that we ended up working for ourselves is that you take away the risk, for want of a better term. The biggest issue in the marketplace I see moving forward is money, getting the money to be able to fund the builds. We all know we can build the builds, we all know that we can do the land developments. The reality of life is dealing with council and trying to fund that difference between the approval and getting it out of the ground. That's the hardest part. Today we're on our Niles Court project, so this is one of those funny little ones where we did the entire development. It's about 67 land pieces. The partner that was buying everything from us did not want this specific lot because of its challenges. So there was a lot of earthwork to deal with it, the way that the council specifications worked for it with the bell ratings, with the fire ratings, and so this lot got left. And so what we've done here is come up with a strategy to be able to build something out, make something really neat, and because we're lucky enough to have the toys to come and play, we'll come and move a whole pile of dirt and make it look cool, and so that a family can teach their kids to play football or rugby league or learn to ride a bike, and that's what's going to make this site a little bit unique. So it's where we are today. Normally I'd be standing around a site with civil pipes happening or big bulk earthwork moving machines, or I'll have 60, 80, 90 contractors on site building houses. That's typically what we do. How do I end up with an attached to? Well, it's a kind of a funny story. Back in COVID, you couldn't get a machine, you couldn't get an anything earth moving equipment. The lead times were phenomenal. And I guess I was very lucky, married a very beautiful lady, and her brother-in-law was very high up in Sumitomo and happened to make a phone call for me and said, I phoned him actually, and said, I want to buy an excavator, and he laughed at me and said, good luck to you. Lead times are insane. I said, I don't want to play the brother-in-law card, but I'm gonna. And he goes, oh, you're kidding. Anyway, those are things that happen at family lunches. And I said, this is the kind of machine that I want. And he said, well, grab the Sumi, it's more of a construction excavator. And I said, I want a power head. I want the good one. I want the stuff that's right, that's not gonna break. And one of the hardest things about having a business and being in construction is keeping your staff kind of happy, making sure that they're comfortable, and making their job that little 1% easier. And it's all the little 1%ers that make a difference, and most of us in business will know that. So the idea with this one, and let's face it, I'm not that great on a machine. The the power head makes me look very, very cool. It actually makes me look like I know what I'm doing. So when I said to Paul, I want the right gear, and he goes, I got you. Don't you worry, I'm going to set this up right. We're going to attach to package, full power head on it for you, full suite of buckets. And you'd think he'd give me a discount because he's my brother-in-law, but he didn't. But what he did get me is the machine in a reasonable time frame, which most people didn't seem to be able to do about a year ago. I kind of mentioned before that I'm not the most talented excavator operator. They tend to get me to wash them and clean them and all that sort of stuff, but sometimes I'm allowed to drive our own machines. And one of the things that happens is there's always that tricky thing. So I went with the Heli-tilt, mainly because Paul recommended it because of its strength and its longevity, but also the way that you can switch buckets. And the other part that really annoys me is because I'm not that great on it, I forget to carry my buckets with me, and I'll need that bucket, I'll need the 300, I'll need a 450, or now I'll need a 600, then I'll need a butter bucket, or now I'll need a ripper. And the cool part about the way that this thing works, and everybody that's seen it with us has just gone, how cool is that? The way that it carries all of its buckets together. And so instead of going there, picking up one bucket, moving back, this system allows us to save time, that's good, save a little bit of money, but also for the guys, they're not just tracking and wasting time for them because they get bored with it as well. You find with most excavator operators, they actually like digging. They actually like having a go at what we're doing, and we like to have, it's fun to us. It's like when you're a kid playing in a sandpit. I was kind of a bigger version of it. And so that's why we went with that package ultimately at the end of the day. It's recommended, can carry multiple buckets at one time with us. And then the other part that's a real big advantage to us at the end of the day, not all of our sites have full fencing and cameras, everything else like that all the time. Like this one, we're getting in a little bit early, so that none of the cameras or any of those things are set up. So at night, you pick up all your buckets, tuck them in hard to your blade, lock your machine down, isolate off. And if you're going to steal it from that point, mate, you're entitled to it in my eyes. Happy days. It's weird, everybody talks in the industry, and we also, I like this or I like that. Some people like that particular brand of machine, some people like that particular brand of machine, yellow, blue, orange, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is ultimately the performances and the least amount of breakdowns for everybody. And for us, if we crack a tooth, or the product we're digging into is too hard and we have to change the teeth, this one works really well. I have to say, because we're Brisbane based, it doesn't take us long to be able to scoot to the warehouse there, or they can courier it out for us, which is kind of handy as well. Because ultimately at the end of the day, the machines make their living by turning their hours and digging dirt. Every hour that we spend standing around doing nothing is money that we're losing. And unfortunately for us, and it sounds really cool because the bank will support our projects, we actually race the clock on the interest, and that's the hardest part for our business. It's funny, people go, oh, you're partners with a bank, how good's that? You must have a flash boat. No. You must have an aeroplane. No. What we have is good gear, we look after it, and we want reliability. And if they see a valid business reason, they'll invest in it for us. And then we're going to keep the machines turning and burning to make that happen. So fighting that interest clock is the hardest thing that we do. I've been really lucky with the attached to guys. In all honesty, I haven't had, touch wood, I haven't had a breakdown or any major issues at all. I've been very lucky. But that's because we look after the machine. The cool part is when we first got the gear, they were real specific on how we grease up the Heli-tilt daily. But more importantly, I have busted a couple of teeth, or I had the wrong teeth at a different location, and I was typed on the phone. It was really cool. And there's, I've forgotten the lady's name actually, but she's super nice and she was really friendly, and I phoned and gave her my credit card as you do, and literally 30 minutes later I had the teeth packed up in a nice box ready to roll out the door, pins, rubbers, everything I needed. So they've been really handy. I get asked if I could etc. For me, I got nothing but good things to say about the cool people at Attached To. They've been really kind, helpful for a guy like me that's not that talented. I remember we were talking about some different materials that we were digging into, and they were like, hey, try this tooth set here, this will make a difference, does it work? You know, it'll help you along, and sure enough, that worked really, really well. So if I was going to say anything to anybody, give them a go. They're good people. The biggest thing that in our industry at the moment is the uncertainty with funding and the actual forward orders. That's changed a lot. I reckon if I was going to say anything to anybody in the industry, stick to your core business, look after your guys. Mental health is a major, major issue in our industry, and don't forget to ask, are you okay? And I suppose that's probably our parting thought. Keep digging.